Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Nedling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Good day, good evening, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Nedling, and I'm coming from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of our podcast is to share topics and guests that will empower you to grow as a confident leader and take your business or your life to the next level. Today, my guest is Midori Verity. Midori Verity is the CEO of Fuel to Fire Accountability Group for Entrepreneurs. Fuel to Fire is a community for driven leaders to accelerate their business growth. It incorporates a proven goal-setting framework, an accountability method, along with mentorship to help hit the biggest goals. Midori owns several businesses with 3 decades of experience. She doesn't look old enough for 3 decades. She knows it takes time to start, to grow, and rapidly scale a business with ease. Please join me in welcoming Midori Verity.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to hear you speak about this topic. I think it's going to be one that our audience definitely needs to take notes on. So this is your get your pen and paper alert out, everyone. Get your pen and paper alert. We start out always with some easy icebreaker question. And that question is just simply, what part of the country do you call home?
I'm in Northern California.
Ah, very good. The wine country?
Exactly. Yes. We're surrounded by wine. If you don't drink wine, it's tough to live here.
So just a little tidbit about me. I spent 2019 to 2021 as a region advisor for Toastmasters International, and my territory was California.
Nice.
But I did not go as far north as wine country.
Well, you'll just have to come back. Wherever you are is not that far.
I know. Such a beautiful area. Definitely.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
So let's get into it. First of all, I'd like you to just explain to our audience, what inspired you to launch this current venture that you are on now.
Yeah, Fuel the Fire. Fuel the Fire was born during the pandemic. And so really what happened was I have a number of businesses, but the one that was bringing in the majority of our income, we thought it was going to be the best year ever. Yeah. And we saw overnight that everything dried up and we were giving back tens of thousands of dollars thinking, okay, are we going to make it through this period? And luckily, because I have owned businesses, as you said, for almost 3 decades, this is not my first rodeo. I've been through many challenges and tribulations. It's just part of the journey of entrepreneurship. And so at that point, I decided, okay, we clearly need a new revenue stream. And what do I want to do now? And what I decided was I wanted to have a business that helped entrepreneurs who were feeling this life change that happened, with the world turning upside down, and just entrepreneurs in general. Because after so many years of working with entrepreneurs, I see the same things happening over and over, the same type of challenges. So that was the inspiration to starting Fuel the Fire, is just really coming up with an easy way to help more entrepreneurs, one-to-many, in an affordable way that really made a profound difference for them.
Awesome. I think a lot of us get into business to help others. And it's just believing in yourself whenever those bumps in the road happen that keep you on that journey, so easy
Absolutely.
to just say, oh, well.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think we'll probably talk about today is making sure your business is in alignment with you.
Yeah.
Even if you already have a business that started, you can transform it and pivot it so that it does have a stronger base, a foundation that is around what makes you tick. Yeah. And that makes the journey way more enjoyable, quite frankly.
For sure.
And it makes getting through the challenges a lot easier.
Yeah. So what inspired you whenever you had started your businesses years ago, what was that initial thing? You've been doing this for 3 decades.
Yeah.
So what gave you the confidence to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out there and do this on my own?
So this answer is probably not what you were expecting. But when we graduated, my husband and I graduated from college, we were in a recession and we didn't know what the heck we were going to do. There was not a lot of jobs out there. And actually the first job I had out of college, I was making less than I was prior to college. Wow. And so anyway, at that point, we're like, okay, what can we do? Because we need to make some money here and we need to start our lives off. And we had a friend in college who had started a business and we decided, okay, let's bring that back to where I'm from, which is Sonoma County, California. And we launched an entertainment business here.
Oh.
And that was the start.
That was the catalyst.
That was it.
Yeah. Because I think whenever people hear 3 decades, they think, oh, well, you came out of college and you just took control of a business and everything. But we
didn't know what we were doing, Vicki. We had no clue what we were doing. We just had a credit card and a little bit of room on it. And that's what we did to start.
And look how it changed your life.
It did. I mean, there's things that I would change now, of course. But one thing that I say is when you decide on something, when you have a dream and a goal, get educated on it. So you're not just launching and, biting off more than you can chew or that you're prepared for, but figure out a way to make it happen. And, I think we're going to talk about the Summit Goal System, but with that, it makes it so much easier to see where you're going, your big fat goals, and then breaking it down into bite-sized pieces, which become your roadmap to get there.
I think that leads really well into the next question about the shiny object, because, when you're out there, trust me, there are tons of shiny objects out there that can keep you off really the true track that you should be on to be aligned. So talk about how do you avoid that shiny object syndrome? Yeah,
that is one of the things that I see the most often with entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs biologically, someone who decides to become an entrepreneur is often a visionary. They have big ideas and they're very creative and they're always thinking of new things to do. Part of the weakness of someone who is a big visionary is that they're all over the place and they aren't staying focused, right? So they see those shiny objects. Oh, maybe that's what I need to do for marketing. Or maybe this is a better business idea. Or maybe I should write a blog and start a show and go and be on social media everywhere, and then all of a sudden they're all over and nothing's happening. This is what I have a client that I'm working with. He came in from the very beginning and I've known him for years. And he is a shiny object king. And I love him to death, but he'd come up with something and he'd get his whole business plan done. He'd have a website, he'd have everything. It would be beautiful. And then he'd call me and say, hey, Midori, I have a new idea. I think I should go in this direction. And he did this so many times. Yes. I'm like, okay, that's it.
No more.
No more. He was part of the reason why I started Fuel the Fire. I'm like, we need to get you focused and we need to base it on what you're really good at, what you want, what makes you tick, and let's create a system so you have a clear path and we're going to keep you on there. And we'll have measurements within the system so we can see if it's working or not and when we need to pivot, but we no longer are doing that shiny object thing.
Yeah. When
So
you understand what your passion is, what your point of view is, and you focus on that, then you definitely can figure out what your path and your journey is. And it's okay to pivot, but you still have underlining that your basic core principles are still there.
right. Yeah. You want that as your foundation. I call it your
Mm-hmm.
personal mission statement. Get clear on that. If we have time, we can talk about that too. But really, so with shiny objects, what you want to be doing is having this clear framework.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a simple concept, but we call it, Fuel the Fire, we call it the Summit Goal System.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll break it down. So at the very top, you think of a mountain, big mountain. At the very top, you have your summit goals. Those are your big, exciting,
Right.
aspirational goals. Those things that are stretchy, but they excite the crap out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So those are your 12-month to 5-year goals. Underneath that, you have your approach goals. And let me back up for a second. You may not know how you're going to get to that summit yet. You may not know, but that's okay, because as we go, we will figure it out. When JFK decided he was going to put a man on the moon, that was a huge aspirational goal. He had zero clue how he was going to do it. Yeah.
Yes.
So here's a system that can help you. Okay, so underneath the summit goals, you have your approach goals. Those are broken down by quarters or 90 days. So those are the things that you're going to be measuring. These are the things that need to happen to get you towards your approach goal, or towards your summit goal, right? Underneath your approach goal, you have your action steps. What action steps are you going to be taking to get you to the approach goal? So your approach goal, an example of this could be, I'm going to be on 5 podcasts, right? So your approach goal is, your action steps, I'm going to create a media one sheet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to locate 20 podcasts that I want to be on that are in alignment with what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to submit these, and then I'm going to have a follow-up. So you have a whole system behind it, right? And so that's what you're going to focus on for that quarter. And you can have up to 5 approach goals during a quarter, depending on how elaborate they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you want to do, so you have your action steps underneath that to help you stay focused. And we talked about pivoting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the beauty of a small business is that we can pivot. We're not a big corporation where it's a lot tougher to do that. That's the beauty of a small business. So throughout the quarter, you want to look back and see, how am I doing on these goals? Am I getting on any of these podcasts? Do I have 0, even though I followed my action steps?
Yes.
If so, you need to go back and reevaluate. Is it my one sheet? Is it my messaging? Am I targeting the wrong people? And you just have to adjust. And
do you also in that system include like an accountability partner, or?
That's part of the Fuel the Fire system. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Fuel the Fire is composed of 3 elements.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very simple. One is a summit goal system. This is what we run. This is the language we use. This is what we use to create clear goals.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you have accountability pods. So these are really small groups, 4 to 6, mostly women, all entrepreneurs who are at the same level or maybe a little bit higher than you. And we have an accountability coach in each group. And that coach is there to keep you focused. Yeah. Right? So you're talking about what your goals are, and you're not going off on tangents or looking for shiny objects. But you also have this small group where you can be real. Yeah. You can be authentic. You can share the real crap that is going on in your life and in your business, which we all go through. But in big groups, what I have found is people aren't honest.
Yeah, they just, everything's wonderful. Everything's great.
Totally, I'm crushing it. I'm crushing it. I don't even know what to do with all this business. I see it all the time. And I can tell a BSer when I'm listening to him. Yeah. And it doesn't help you. It doesn't help. And so that is why we have these small groups. And part of the culture of Fuel the Fire is that you show up every week, regardless of whether you got your stuff done or not, and you make it a habit. Right. Yeah. And then your other podmates are there to support you and to share tips and share resources and share tears if it need be.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about. And then the third component is the mentorship.
Oh,
In a
nice.
business,
Very good.
you need to have someone that you're talking to who knows their stuff.
Yeah.
Mom and dad and your best friend are not the ones to talk to. You need someone who's been there. If you really want to be successful, that's the third component.
And I think that's a lot of things, a lot of times what people miss. I know even for myself, when I first started, I was like, well, I don't need to have somebody to do this. They're just looking for my money. And then I got one and I was like, oh, well, this is different. And so now I have three. But you do need that person that's been there, done that, has the t-shirt, and can help you with that journey.
It makes a massive difference. I have a client that I meet with every other week. She's been part of Fuel the Fire for over a year now. And when she first came in, she was teaching full time. She's a professor, and she had started a business, but she wasn't seeing a ton of traction.
Yeah.
And then she learned the Summit Goal System. And so it made that, so it became clear. She's one of those who's all over the place. She's amazing. She has so many talents, which so many entrepreneurs have, but it really zoned things in. And so now what she does is each time before we get on, she looks at her summit goals. She knows exactly what she needs to be doing and whether she did it or not. And then she has her accountability group. And then she has me as a mentor as well. And it's that 1, 2, 3 punch. And so now she's been able to leave her full-time professor job because her company's bringing in so much money. Awesome. She finally was able to really go start thriving. And that's the difference.
And what I like about your system is that it allows you to understand how just having those small steps, those small wins, and that accountability group can be there to celebrate with you those small wins. To sometimes, even I think sometimes we don't even recognize sometimes that it was a win. And so if you just talk to those groups and be able to say, well, this is what I did today, and they see that it's a win, and now all of a sudden that bolsters your belief in yourself, which is so great. And the mentorship is really just there for someone that you can trust. Yeah. You need to trust
and then get through challenges quicker, right? Instead of trying to figure it out yourself and being like, oh, I'm so scared of making a mistake. I'm so scared of going the wrong direction and being embarrassed or failing or, or wasting time, right? If you have someone who's already been there and done that, they can shorten that learning curve so much and save you time and money and get you to where you want to go so much quicker.
Well, and also they can be the person that says, I screwed up, I failed, and look where I am. And we need to hear that. We need to understand that we will learn more from our failures and our mistakes than we will ever take in the easy road.
100%.
Yeah.
And then to get back to what you mentioned a minute ago, you were talking about small wins, right? It's been so interesting having Fuel the Fire because I have a number of members in there. And so I see these things that happen in these women's lives. And I have one client who's incredibly successful. She has her own winery, and she also is a lead salesperson for this large firm. By anyone's standards, she's incredibly successful. However, in her head, she has a ton of imposter syndrome going on. And she has these doubts. And when I talk to her, I'm like, she tells me all these things that are going through her head. I'm like, oh my gosh. All right, Jennifer, we need to back up for a second. And right now, I just had a talk with her 2 days ago. And I said, what we need to do right now is we need to just to pause. And I want you to focus on only 2 things. 2 things right now that you need to get done every single day. And I want you to make a check mark next to it because those are your wins. Yeah. And what I'm doing is I'm helping her get back that confidence that she can do it. It's a mental game. So often a mental game. And it's something as simple as that.
So they just made me remember, I have an anti-aging and wellness business, and one of my customers, I had to get her to wash her face and every day. And I would text her every night, don't forget to wash your face. In the morning, I text her, did you wash your face?
Isn't there a book with that name?
I don't know. But it's things like that. You just need somebody to remind you to do it until it becomes a habit, becomes, your normal. But it just always struck me as funny. And that's not the first person either that it's like, you have to do those things to take care of yourself if you want to look good.
Rule number 1.
Wash your face. Oh my goodness. So motivation comes up next. How do you stay motivated on those big summit goals?
Right? Yeah. So one thing that we kind of hit on in the beginning of this conversation is the foundation for your business.
Yeah.
And one thing that I teach and Fuel the Fire is creating a personal mission statement. And this is used for any big decision you're making. And your personal mission statement is comprised of three elements. One is your core values. Number 2 is your motivators. What motivates you the most? And then number 3 is your zone of genius. What are you really good at? And you take those 3 elements, you put it into 1 to 3 sentences, and that is what you use to build your business around. You make sure that the business that you have is in alignment with your personal mission statement. And when it is, such as Fuel the Fire is, it's absolutely 100%. Before I started building it, I made sure my personal mission statement was the foundation. I am fired up every single day. We have had many challenges already in just over a year with the business, but I don't care because I know that we're going somewhere so much bigger that I can circumvent these challenges and these issues that have come up, and we have. And when you have that type of alignment, you can do anything.
And as you were saying that, it made me think that really that is what you should ask. Every time you get that shiny object syndrome going on, you should ask, okay, is it aligned with these 3 things? And if it's not, let that shiny object go.
Yep. Or at least go on the back burner until later,
maybe
at least.
Yeah. Never know, always not now.
Absolutely. And then also with the shiny objects, going back to your approach goals. If it's not in your approach goals, you can put it in for a future quarter or future 90 days. But if it's not in right now, then you don't do it.
Yeah.
Do you see how it just makes that clarity? It has that clarity. So you stay laser focused.
Yeah. And it makes you not feel like you're missing out on something or you're not doing all the things you need to do. And I think that's why a lot of people go in circles, because they have no guidance, no direction. They just are hitting whatever comes next. And a lot of times, sometimes it's the easiest thing, but maybe not the smartest thing or the most effective thing to do.
Absolutely. I see it all the time, and it sounds like you do too.
So that leads me nicely into the next thing, which talks about strategy. And, we can come up with some great plans. I'm a project manager by trade, and we can come up with great plans. But how do you know when it's not working? Okay.
So we've hit on this just a little bit, but what you want to do is look at your approach goals. And what I do with my clients is we always go in 90 days.
Yeah.
When we're halfway through the quarter, which is 6 weeks, we take out our approach goals and we look at them and we see, okay, how are we doing on a scale of 0 to 100? Where are we on this? Are we making progress at all? And then we look at it and decide, okay, so this particular approach goal, let's say it's social media. You want to get out 10 posts per week, right? Let's just say that. And you've only gotten out 2 per week for some reason. Then you go back and go, okay, what's going on here? Why am I not getting these out? What's not working? And then you decide, okay, well, maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew. And it's more strategic at this point for me for the rest of the quarter to only focus on getting 3 out per week and I'm only going to focus on these platforms, right? Or you just change it up and, use one video to create all kinds of posts from that. So there's just ways to do it. And having a group that you're working with where you can bounce ideas off of each other and brainstorm and other people can share what's worked for them, it's so helpful and so valuable.
So do you give the folks in your group a format? Like I have a success system that for my anti-aging business, that I do all those things that you're talking about. I record it because I want to look back on my month or my quarter and say, okay, is there a trend? Is there a pattern? Do you give them something like that, or how do they manage?
Yeah, so they keep track each week. So when they meet with their accountability group, they have a spreadsheet where they add everything. And so it's really cool. You can go back and see, oh, I have 3 reds and I have all these greens and I have these yellows, meaning how, whether you got it done, whether it's in progress or whether you completed it. So that is a great measurement, visual measurement to see how you're doing. And then also some red alerts. If you see a lot of reds, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
And do I need a who for my what? Do I need a new strategy? Is it that I just have too many things I'm trying to accomplish this quarter and I need to move this to next quarter?
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Perfect. And we talked about the zone of genius. How did you come up with that idea? And how can that zone of genius really be able to change the entrepreneur's trajectory in their success?
Yeah. So your zone of genius is what you are naturally really good at and that you love to do. So when you can recognize, when you figure out what your zone of genius is, it is such a power tool for you. Because what I tell my clients is you want to try to create your schedule so that you are working from your zone of genius 80% of the time. Everything else is delegated out.
Yeah.
That's what you want to start. And it takes time, but that's what your goal is. Because here's one way to know that you're working from your zone of genius. When you have something that you're working on, and have you ever noticed this, Vicki, when you're working on something and all of a sudden you look at the clock and you're like, oh my gosh.
The day's gone.
The day's gone. And I had no idea, right?
Yes.
If you love writing or if you love analytics, whatever it is, but that's flow. That's called flow. The more you can get into flow where time just seems to disappear and you're just so entrenched in it, the more you're going to get done, the more you're going to enjoy what you're doing. That's why your zone of genius is so critical to creating a business that continues to grow. Equally as important is knowing your weaknesses. So your zone of genius are your strengths, right? But you have to know your weaknesses. And we all have them. I don't care who you are. I have a gazillion. But those are what you want to make sure you delegate out. So for most entrepreneurs, we're visionaries. Typical visionaries.
Right.
And one of the downfalls of being a visionary tends to be that we're not so organized. So Vicki, the fact that you said that you're a project manager, we love you for that. Because we're all over the place. That's why shiny objects are a big issue for us. That's why overwhelm is an issue for us. Burnout. All these things are because that's the way we operate. That's the way so many entrepreneurs operate. So getting clear on what we stink at. So it may be that we are not organized. So we need someone who can help us get organized and be our project manager.
Yeah. And
do those tasks that we keep putting off that really do need to get done, but we really just don't want to and we stink at it or
procrastinate.
Yes. And so when you have those elements in place, you're going to move much quicker and you're going to enjoy it so much more. And that's why knowing your zone of genius is so critical.
Oh, so true. My brother he creates things. He invents things, and he is totally on the creative side. Not so much on the organized side. Luckily, he married somebody who is, and so that's a good partnership there. But definitely have seen and heard all the things you talked about.
Yes.
Well, we
Yeah.
could talk forever, but I think that definitely you have a course and a system that folks can for sure make work for them. But we always like to end with some easy questions that will help us get to know you a little bit better. So I call it my rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And they're just random words or phrases out there that can give us a little bit of insight about you. So, because you're from wine country, favorite wine and why?
Oh, my favorite varietal is Pinot Noir. Do you love that?
I do.
Get really excited.
I like both Pinots. But yes.
Pinot Grigio and Pinot Noir. Yeah, for me, Pinot Noir, I love because it goes so well with food and it's not overpowering and it can go with just about anything. And up here in Northern California, the weather's usually pretty tame, and so regardless of whether it's warm or it's cold, it'll adapt.
Yes, nice. So you live in that Northern California. But if you could live anywhere else in the world, where would you like to call home?
I do love it here. I also love the energy of Southern California. And so I'm actually down there quite a bit, but that is probably where I would say, other than I love Spain. I love Barcelona.
Yes.
And so I could live there too.
Yeah,
so it's
definitely.
hard for me to narrow it down.
All right. I see you have a dog. What's your dog's name and how long have you had?
So my dog's name is Pico. Pico de Gallo is his full name. And I've had him, he's 9 years old. So I've had him since he was a pup.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. And what is your best client?
Oh, gosh. I would say my ideal client is that person who has this inner tiger in them that's just waiting to come out and they are ready to go there, right? And they're just looking for someone to help them unlock that inner person in them so that they can shine and they can let their best selves out. That's the person that I love working with.
So when I say the word persistence, what just comes to mind?
That's business. If you want to be successful in business, you have to be persistent. So whether that's going after a new client, whether that is going after a new goal, you just have to be persistent and build up that habit.
You do. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now so that we can see the contact information. All right. So we have a free gift that Verity is going to talk about in a moment, but I wanted you to take notice of her websites. So we have https://for FOR.fuel FUELTOFIRE groups GROUPS. So that's for.fuel2firegroups.com/grow GROW. And then there's https://www.fuel2firegroups.com/goals. Her email is Midori, MIDORI @fuel2fire.com. And she has LinkedIn groups. If you just search for Midori, VERITY, Verity. So Midori Verity, all one word, or Instagram, same way. You will find her. Now I'll let you talk about Summit Goal Mapping Framework Training and Template. What's the gift you're giving?
Yeah, so I love to share this, and so that whoever's listening can start having some of the successes like the ones that we talked about, whether it's, figuring out the new business that you want to create, or you're in business already and you just want to really start excelling. And so what I'm offering is the Summit Goal Mapping Framework Training and Template. So it's really, really simple. It has some video training in there. And all you have to do is just go to fuelthefiregroups.com/goals to get it.
Awesome. Excellent. So again, you go to www.fuelthefiregroups.com/goals and you will get your gift. We'll stop share. Oh, we have one more thing that I always show is bragging on me. I have a book that came out in February. It's called by Rochelle Marie Lawson. It's called Unstoppable, Being Fierce, Fearless, and Unfuckwithable in Life and Business. And I'm chapter 5, Growing Your Confidence. So pick up that book on Amazon. It has been so wonderful talking with you, having this great conversation, learning more about your framework and Fuel to Fire and everything that you're doing. I can't thank you enough for being a guest. We have gotten a lot of tips today. We have, Midori is really, she shared our story. She told us about her dog. We know she likes Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir. I'm the Gris. I'm the Gris. Yeah, actually.
I'll drink it all, Vicki.
Me too. And so I just want you to reach out to Midori at her website to learn more. Check out the free gift. And if you like it, check out what else that she can do for you to build your business, to grow your business, take you to that next level. Remember, until that next time when we meet again, I want you to please enjoy the journey, because it's up to you to really have fun. So life is a journey, and it's really up to you to enjoy the ride.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Nedling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.